If you've been paying attention at all to the state of the internet in 2025, you already know something big is happening behind the scenes. Google is slowly choking out the last real ad blocking capabilities inside Chrome by killing off Manifest v2. And if you don't know what that means, here's the simple version. It's a technical change in how browser extensions work, but the end result is brutal. The best ad blocker in existence, uBlock Origin, loses its full powers inside Chromium-based browsers. That includes not just Chrome, but Brave, Opera, Edge, all of them. And that means the last stronghold for real heavy-duty ad blocking, the kind that can actually keep the web usable, is Firefox and its forks. But here's the problem. Firefox, out of the box, isn't some privacy hero. It comes with Google locked in as the default search engine, telemetry quietly pinging back data depending on how you installed it, and Pocket's recommended articles that double as tracking vectors. Most people download Firefox, install uBlock, and call it a day. And on the surface, that looks fine. But if you really care about privacy, not just casual ad blocking, but making your browser the strongest defense you own, you need to go deeper. That's where forks like Mullvad Browser and LibreWolf come in. These aren't just repackaged Firefox skins. They're hardened, pre-configured privacy environments built specifically to minimize your fingerprint and cut off tracking at the root. Both come with uBlock Origin pre-installed, so you don't even have to touch it. Mullvad Browser in particular is fascinating because it ships directly from the same people behind Mullvad VPN, one of the few VPNs that has consistently resisted data collection, logs, and shady business practices. In fact, Mullvad Browser even includes the Mullvad VPN extension baked right in. But there's a catch. That extension doesn't magically give you a VPN. You actually need to be subscribed to Mullvad VPN, running WireGuard, and paying for it, ideally through their anonymous channels like Monero or even Literal Cache through their Onion site. It's one of the few VPNs that still makes privacy an ideology, not just a buzzword. Now, here's the reality. VPNs, proxies, and Tor are the only true ways to mask your IP and location-based tracking. There's no browser setting that can stop your ISP or an ad network from logging your IP. So if you're taking this seriously, running Mullvad or a similar no-log VPN isn't optional. It's the foundation everything else sits on. So let's compare your actual options here. Mullvad Browser ships with its own DNS servers, lockdown DNS over HTTPS, DuckDuckGo is the default search engine, and crucially, it doesn't play games with user agent spoofing. That's big, because user agent spoofing sounds like privacy, but often backfires, making your fingerprint more unique and breaking downloads where you get served the wrong installer. LibreWolf, on the other hand, takes a more aggressive approach. It defaults to DuckDuckGo, disables WebGL entirely, spoofs your operating system in the user agent, and tries to crush fingerprinting at the cost of sometimes breaking sites. Arkenfox, which isn't a browser at all, but a hardened user.js config for Firefox, sits somewhere in the middle. You drop their config file into your profile, and suddenly Firefox behaves a lot more like LibreWolf. But it keeps Google as default and defaults to Cloudflare DNS, which is less than ideal if you're chasing full privacy. This is where the trade-offs get interesting. WebGL, for example, is a nightmare for fingerprinting because it exposes all kinds of unique hardware details about your GPU. But if you disable it, you'll find modern websites, web apps, and 3D-heavy pages just break. So Mullvad allows it, accepting the slight increase in fingerprintability in exchange for fewer broken sites. LibreWolf disables it, leaning harder into security at the expense of functionality, and Arkenfox also disables it by default. There isn't one right choice here, but there is a right choice for you depending on how much breakage you're willing to tolerate. Now, let's talk about the hidden problem almost no one brings up: updates. Mullvad Browser and LibreWolf don't always ship with the same kind of mainstream installer support Firefox does. You might have to update them manually. Mullvad Browser doesn't even exist for BSD yet. And if you're lazy about updates, that shiny hardened browser can quickly become a soft target. The real-world fix here is simple. If you don't want to manage forks, just harden Firefox yourself. The best way is grabbing the Arkenfox user.js file from GitHub, dropping it into your profile, and then learning the key settings it changes so you're not flying blind. You don't want to blindly trust configs you don't understand. And here's the other critical piece: compartmentalization. It doesn't matter if you've got the world's best ad blocker and all the privacy settings in the world if you're using the same browser profile for everything. That's how trackers connect dots across your life. Online banking, casual browsing, research, and hacking. Separate them. different profiles, ideally different hardened configs, so there's no crossover. Mullvad, LibreWolf, Firefox with Arkenfox, all of them support multiple profiles. Use that power. So where does that leave us in 2025? Right now, Mullvad Browser is slightly ahead. It strikes the right balance between privacy and usability, has its own DNS servers, and avoids the worst pitfalls of spoofing. LibreWolf is great if you want maximum paranoia and are okay with things breaking. Arkenfox is perfect if you want to stick with standard Firefox but take full control. And if you're serious, combine any of these with a trustworthy VPN, like Mullvad, ideally paid anonymously. That's the setup. That's how you push your browser into the top 1% of privacy worldwide. But let me be real with you. Configs and forks only take you so far. Mullvad, LibreWolf, Arkenfox, they give you the foundation, not the fully built house. You still need to structure your profiles, integrate your tools, and make sure updates don't quietly undo your work. That's the part most people never finish. And that's exactly why I built something new, the Private Browser Blueprint. It's 3 hardened Firefox profiles ready to drop in, personal, research, and everyday, each with the exact extensions and tweaks I use myself. One of them is preloaded with recon tools like Wapalizer and cookie managers, so you can flip instantly from browsing to hacking. It includes an auto-update health script so you're not left behind when Firefox pushes patches, and it comes with a VPN workflow guide so you actually know how to chain all this together. Think of it as Arkenfox, but battle-tested, pre-built, and real-world ready. One of the members who tried this started out just wanting a private browser. A few months later, he was using the research profile to probe bug bounty targets. He landed a $3,000 payout, enough to cover his entire semester of college. And that's the difference between configs on paper and tools in practice. You can grab it right now inside CyberFlow's Academy, where we don't just hand you configs, we teach the entire ecosystem, from privacy and hacking techniques to actually turning them into income. Because yeah, privacy is power, but privacy plus opportunity, that's life-changing. And since you stuck with me to the end, use code CYBER50 for 50% off. First link in the description.